VK2VK, and we will be your net control for the Saturday Night Trivia Net, number 75. This is a direct-to-net, so all traffic should go through net control. Does anyone have any emergency traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, please come now.
Linked.
Somebody have any traffic? I guess not. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. You can also text us at 716-317-050 and check into the net via text message. Finally, if you'd like to follow along as we log the net, visit eastcoastreflector.com and drop down the Nets tab and select the Trivia Net Live Log link. And the question of the night is, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public? The funniest thing you've seen someone do in public. And before we ask for check-ins to see what we got so far tonight, hang on a second. We have KJ6ARR via text, German George in Scottsdale, who emailed his question in, or I emailed a question anyway. JR2FJI, George in Japan, checked in via text. N6MOT, would be the Lau in Monterey, California via text. K7HLB, Dave in Portland. KG4BUT, Grayson from Orlando via the text line. N7FGP, Scott in Houston. KD6EAR, West in Grants Pass, Oregon. VK2EY, Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia. KN6 MIK, Mike in San Diego, and K8 in BYU, Roy in Blasdell, New York is what we have so far. Want to check in now, full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 6, Victor Bravo. Yes, Kilo Foxtrot 6, Hotel Delta Juliet.
Kilo India 7, Lima Alpha Golf. Kilo India 7, Lima Alpha Golf.
Victor Echo 3, Romeo Whiskey Juliet. Victor 3, Romeo Whiskey Juliet.
For the 6H, the pre-Kilo Foxtrot, Kilo Foxtrot 6, Hotel Delta Juliet.
KC2JPQ, KC2JPQ.
Kilo 7, Oscar Golf Charlie. Kilo 7, Oscar Golf Charlie.
Okay, let's hold it there. It looks like a good start. See, now we also have checked in. KG7RVB, Ray and Cody, welcome back, Ray. KF6HDJ, Brent, Pensacola, welcome back, Brent. KI7LAG, Patrick and Beaverton. V3RWJ, Chris and Ancaster, Ontario, Canada, welcome back to you too, sir. KC2, JP2Q, Frank in Lancaster, New York. KK7OGC, Fred in Reno. AJ6EE, Kevin in Anaheim, California via the text line. All right, guys, the question of the night. What's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public? And to the top we go to George in Kawagoe, Japan. JR2FJI, are you there, George?
I'm here, my lord. Alex, howdy there, and howdy to the net. What a nice thing. Now, many years ago, in Yokohama. Yokohama is a big city. And an old woman, she opened up her umbrella, sat down in the middle of the road, and she did her business there in the middle of the road. And Yokohama is a big, crowded city. And she just sat down, opened up the umbrella and hiding underneath the umbrella, and she did her business. That was quite funny. Well, anyway, the old woman, so she shall be, I guess. GFFJ. Over to you, Alex.
Well, she moved to San Francisco. She'll fit right in. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Okay, George, your question is, they do it without umbrellas. The practice of this centuries-old Chinese martial art is said to improve physical strength and mental well-being by channeling the body's energy flow. What are we talking about here? A, Tai Chi Chuan, B, Feng Shui, or C, Dim Sum?
Wow. Gee, no idea. Let's go with A, why not? Alex, as always, thanks for doing your net and have a great evening. Say howdy to your wife and to the rest of the net. Clear to FGI pod on, back to net control.
And thanks for checking in, George. I know it's somewhat of a struggle doing it from where you are with all the way the connections are, but glad you can make it in. You're sounding good, and that is correct. Yeah, Tai Chi Chuan is the Chinese martial art that improves your physical strength and mental well-being, channeling the body's energy flow. Now, dim is a Chinese food dish, so it's also something I mutter every time I see my Social Security check. Thanks, George. Little Al, Monterey, California, N6 MOT. Hey, Little Al. Funniest thing you've ever seen someone do it in public?
Oh, boy. I haven't given it much thought. I don't know. There's been so many things, but MOT, Little Al here. And funniest thing I've ever seen somebody do in public. Well, okay, well, I don't even know what to say. It's somebody that was expecting one thing and something else happened in public when they were going to, thought they were going to, let's say this, how can I say this correctly, expel gas, and something else happened. And it happened in public and it happened at work, and we laughed so hard.
That one's a classic. Okay, your actual question is, in the movie Ben-Hur, Charlton Heston's character has something that did not appear until much later in history. What's the continuity area? Is it A, a Christian cross on his neck, B, a Star of David on his tunic, or C, an NRA bumper sticker on his chariot?
Oh, it's probably the NRA sticker, wouldn't doubt it. It's got to be one of the two, Star of David and the Christian cross. I'm just going to 50-50 chance and go with the Christian cross because I don't think that came out till later. I'm not sure, though. I'll go with A, Christian cross.
Yeah, the funny thing is he's Jewish, and so a Star of David wouldn't look unusual, you would think, but no, it was the Star of David. The Star of David didn't become a symbol of Judaism until the Middle Ages, so in that time it wasn't popular yet. And as most of you know, Heston was the president of the NRA. I used to have a cat that I named Ben-Hur. I originally named it Ben. Thanks a lot. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD. How you doing, Dave? Funniest thing you've ever seen in public?
KK7HLD. Well, my wife and I were driving downtown and pulled up, and in the middle of the block there was a lady in a sob trying to parallel park. And, okay, I'll admit, we were bad. We sat there and watched her for about 5 minutes. Finally gave up, drove around, went around the block, and she was on the other side of the street trying to parallel park on the other side of the street when we got around. I personally thought that was pretty funny, but then she's still, I don't know if you heard my wife say she's still probably trying to park. This 21, 22, probably 3 years ago. Anyways, KK7HLD, what kind of fun and exciting question you got for me?
That's an image that'll stay in your mind a while. That's what was it? Babylon B had that joke one time about female Army recruit tries to wreck several vehicles trying to parallel park. I digress. As they say, your question is he was a member of a popular American rock group and holds an amateur radio license of WB6ACU. So we're talking about A, Joe Walsh of the Eagles, B, James Hetfield of Metallica, or C, Gordon West of the 70 centimeter band. Who is it?
That was the 2 meter band. Boy, that's a tough one. You know, I used to, just so you know, I used to parallel park 40-foot box trucks, and that's the box size. So my sympathy level wasn't very high that particular day. Oh man, I'm gonna have to flip a coin because I don't have a clue. I admit. How about A for awfully bad guess? I know that was a bad joke. KK7HLD, once again, thank you very much.
Nicely done, Dave. You're correct. Yeah, that's Joe Walsh of the Eagles. And by the way, that's his actual address in Beverly Hills on QRZ, along with over 200,000 lookups. So yeah, it's good for him. I've yet to reach him, but sometime maybe on HF, who knows. Thank you, Dave, and your wife. Yeah, mention your wife's name next time, and I'll include her if she's going to be there in the when I acknowledge you. Grayson, Orlando, Florida, one of our Friday Night Usenet controllers. Grayson, KG4BUT. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
This is Grayson, KG4BUT. I've seen a Karen in public before. That's probably the funniest thing I've seen, but that's more as fun. Going out as funniest things, probably gonna be the Karen incident.
Your question is, which old video game depicts a gorilla throwing barrels down a flight of stairs? Is that A, Dungeon Siege, B, Donkey Kong, or C, Dock Worker Strike?
That is gonna be B.
And B is correct. Yeah, that's Donkey Kong, which I wasted a lot of quarters on when I was a young man. And yeah, not Dock Worker Strike. Although some of those guys that move those docks, I tell you, they look. Thanks, Grayson. Scott in Houston, N7FGP. Scott, what's the funniest thing you've seen in public? Now, you were a firefighter. If you can talk about it, what do you see?
Well, good evening, Alex. You know, and that's the first thing that came to my mind was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But yeah, probably shouldn't talk about it. But and really, that's about the only thing I can think of. But I'm ready for a question.
The military combat drone started out as a device to A, locate lost hikers, B, locate tuna in the ocean, or C, locate humans for termination.
Bravo. Thanks for joining us tonight. 7FGP.
Kilo says it sounds. The military combat drone was originally made to locate tuna in the ocean. The Scan Eagle drone was invented in 1998 and quickly adopted by the U.S. military for use in the Iraq War. So, yeah, that's where Joni comes from. Thanks. Thank you, Scott. It's a W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona. You listen to the Starnight Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, West and Grants Pass. Welcome, buddy. Funniest thing you've seen someone do better than yourself?
No, I haven't seen that much funny stuff, but one, I'm not going to say you said other than yourself, so I'm not going to admit participating in this. I worked at a restaurant in high school. It was a very dead night on Catella Avenue on one of the main drives that when you go from Anaheim Stadium to the freeway. The game was letting out and the place was empty, and the manager coaxed some of the employees to go to this a train next to the restaurant. The restaurant a train motif, train cars right by a train track, so they pushed it out into the intersection, created a traffic jam that went on for about 10 minutes, and the restaurant immediately. So funny, clever, probably not too cool. Net control KD6EI.
And probably, did you have a cell phone at the time, or, well, anyway, it's, everybody records everything these days. What your question is, a British sitcom that debuted on the BBC in 1990 featured Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun not getting along with their Jewish neighbors. How many episodes of Heil Honey, I'm Home aired before it was canceled? A, 13, B, 888, or C, 1.
Oh, that's funny. I'll have to see. Maybe, I don't know if episode, but I'm thinking there was probably one episode, but that is hilarious indeed. And no, this was prior cell phone. This was probably the incident with the boxcar was circa 1976. So, yeah. Back net control. How did I do? KD6EIR.
Yeah, just one episode of Heil Honey, I'm Home aired on the BBC before they canceled it. People were upset. A funny premise, way too controversial even for the British, except for Prince Harry, of course. He dressed up as a Nazi for a costume party, but we won't go there. Thank you, Wes. Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. Funniest thing you've seen someone do in public, Robert?
Just trying to think here, something that's clean and okay to stand right. Let's just go with a simple one. There used to be a guy, I lived in Madison, Wisconsin. There used to be a guy who drove around with a motorcycle, and he used to carry his dog in the motorcycle. The dog was in goggles and really sort of cute. I think more cute than anything else. Just the way he used to drive around that dog in that motorcycle sidecar. So hopefully that's something sort of like the answer for the question.
And your question is, who are we? Oh, women in the British royal family are not allowed to A, curse, B, cross their legs or ankles, C, go on social media and talk about Harry and Meghan.
2DY here. Let's see. I would say, let's go with, they do talk about hearing medium, so I'm going to have to go with Bravo, VK2DY.
Yes, allowed to cross their legs or ankles if you're a woman in the British royal family. Thanks. Thank you, Robert. Mike, San Diego, KN6, MIK. Funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public, Mike? Think back. There's probably a lot of material there since you live in San Diego.
Good evening, Alex. KN6 MIK, Mike here in San Diego. You know, most of it I couldn't say over the air. One short little blurb. We were on a motorcycle run in Lake Tahoe in the early 90s. We got back to camp about 1 a.m. and one of my buddies backed his motorcycle up to an unsuspecting friend and put his exhaust pipes up inside the tent and fired it up. Yeah, I got everybody's attention. Go ahead, Alex. I'll take my question.
Yeah, biker humor, like snooze you lose when you fall asleep in a bar. I won't go there either. Your question is, if you used a payphone in the 1990s, an operator would come on to ask which long-distance carrier you'd like. Texas man Dennis Dees made a small fortune by creating a carrier named A, any of them are fine, B, it doesn't matter, or C, I don't care.
Take what I think's a good Texas accent or excuse. I don't care. KN6 MIK. Back to you, Alex.
Smart businessman, isn't he? Yeah, that's it. That's what most people would say too. And he made a small fortune because he named his carrier operator, so they switched him right over. I thank you, Mike. Stay for yourself. Roy in Blasdell, New York, KA8 BYU. How you doing, Roy? Funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
KA8 BYU. Well, the one night my boss was paying so much attention to his BlackBerry that he walked into the ladies' room by mistake.
By mistake. Right. Okay, Roy. I used that excuse in high school. Your question is, although it wasn't cool then, now you have to let the boys in. In the 1960s TV comedy The Beverly Hillbillies, what was the name of Jed Clampet's daughter? Was it A, Daisy Mae, B, Ellie Mae, or C, Mae?
That would be me, Ellie Mae Clampett. And I met Donna Douglas at the Cleveland airport one day. She was flying through. I sat and talked with her for about 15 minutes.
I heard she was a very kind, decent person, not full of herself, and appreciated whatever role she could get. So, and she was in a few things too, I think. Of course, that was the one she made famous. And you are correct. Yeah, it's Ellie Mae. Fannie Mae was the name of a woman who could be bought for pennies. Thanks. Thank you, Roy. Ray in Cody, Wyoming, KJ7RVB. Hello, Ray. Funniest thing you've seen in public?
Evening, Alex. KJ7RVB. It's got to still be the time we were at Sturgis Cabbage Patch campground about 12 years ago. Everyone was passing around a candle. Nobody could light it. There was much liquid, plant, and pharmaceutical stuff involved. Huge crowd. Everyone kept flicking the light, and the next person would grab it and grab the lighter. Still couldn't get it. By the time it got to about the 12th or 13th person, someone flipped it over and turned a little switch, and it lit.
course, crowd in that condition, anything would be funny to, yeah, I know you had to be there. Thanks, yeah, I'm going to do that sometimes. I got to get to the, Sturgis. Your question is, children born by cesarean section are more likely to, A, develop minor infections as a child, B, grow up faster than other children, or C, leave the building by crashing through a wall. Which is it there, Ray?
Definitely A. KJ7RB. Thanks for doing this, Alex.
You got it. That is correct, Ray. Yeah, they more likely to develop minor infections as a child, but as their immune system improves as they get older, it seems to go away. So, thank you, Ray. Brent in Pensacola, Florida, KF6HJ. Welcome back, buddy. And your question of the night is, what's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public, or as comedian Ron White would say, public?
Well, the funniest thing that I can think of right now is when we had a snow day at work, and I came home early, and my girlfriend and I decided to go to one of the parks in Korea, and so a group of kids had built a snowman at some time, and my girlfriend liked to destroy things, so she went running over and to go knock the snowman down, and I was begging and pleading whether or not to do it because, you know, the kids took the time to build it. But what we didn't know is that the snowman wasn't a new snowman. It was probably made the day before, and it had frozen solid during the night. And she wound up, punched the snowman, and it looked like something out of a cartoon because her fist impacted the snowman, and you could see the impact resonate up her arm. And she didn't break her hand, thank God, but I was laughing my head off. Instant karma. Back to you, Alex, and I'll try and be ready for the question.
Oh yeah, I know that from experience growing up in Flagstaff, Arizona. They freeze the next day, and you learn real quick not to punch or even take a stick or an axe to a snowman. You'll reverberate right up to your arms. All right, Brent, your question is, okay, this is kind of a long one. If you're a man on a first date with a woman, and this, it's a sure sign she feels comfortable with you. Does she A, expose her knee, B, she uses her foot to play with her shoe, or C, she removes the prosthetic leg that the knee, foot, and shoe are attached to? What means she's comfortable with you there, Brent?
I'm going to go with Alpha, and back to you. KFHDJ, thank you for the men.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe 100 years ago, that may have been right. No, it's B. They supposedly psychologists say that if a woman uses her foot to play with her shoe on your first date, that means she's interested in you. Yeah, she trusts her surroundings and is in no hurry to leave. Now, answer C is based on something that actually happened to me. I had no problem with it. She was nice, intelligent, and had a good. She told me her name was Linda, but everyone called her Eileen. And then she worked at IHOP, so you got a level 1 like that. Thanks. Thank you, Brent. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. I'm not kidding. What's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public?
Well, Alex, working in the security industry for almost 30 years, you do pick up a thing or two. But I think the best one I saw years ago, I had a young man got his dreadlocks caught in the zipper of his tent. And I'm kind of talking to him in this position. I look over my shoulder, and here comes his grandmother with a butcher knife. I take 2 steps back because I don't quite know what's going on. But then grandmother proceeds to cut this young man's dreadlock, which I know she was wanting to do, cut his dreadlock right off with one chop. What do you got for me?
Thanks. That is funny. Hey, Patrick, your question is, one way to get people to think that you're smarter than you actually are is to A, become a trivia net controller, B, use your middle initial when introducing yourself, or C, use your middle finger when introducing yourself.
Oh gosh, as much as I've used C more than I care to think of in my lifetime, I'm going to go with B, Bravo. Okay, I see back to net.
Yeah, if you're defiant and, like have that don't give a, what attitude, some people think you're smart. But no, you're right. Correct answer is B, use your middle initial when introducing yourself. Alex B. Keaton or whatever, I think you're smarter than you actually are. Of course, I don't have a middle initial, so I'm stuck in dumb, I guess. Thank you, Patrick. Chris, Ancaster, Ontario, VE3RWJ. Now, Chris, what's the funniest thing you've seen or heard about someone doing in public? What do you say?
Oh, boy. Well, back in I'm thinking this is early 1990s, there's a chain of chicken restaurants up here in Canada called SWLing. It's sort of rotisserie chicken with barbecue sauce and fries and so on. It's a chain all over the place up here. Anyway, early 90s, back when people were using actual film from Kodak and Fuji and so on in their cameras, I'm in this restaurant, and this elderly guy at a table next to me starts berating the waitress. And he says, I ordered the whatever dinner special it was. Where's my free roll of film? I was supposed to get a roll of film. And he really lays into this poor girl. She says very quietly, Sir, the program ended a month ago, but I'll go see if we still have any. And she walks away, and the guy's wife says, also very quietly, but honey, we don't even own a camera. And he says, that's not the point.
I have a relative like that. Oh, good Lord. Chris, your question is, Fred Rogers of Mr. Rogers fame would always say out loud when he fed the fish in his aquarium on his show, because A, the fish were specially trained to respond to his voice. B, he got a letter from a young blind fan who would cry if she thought he had forgotten to feed the fish. Or C, people for the ethical treatment of animals threatened to sue him if he didn't feed the fish. What do you say, Chris?
I think it's B, but I'm a sick person because I'm laughing.
Yeah, that's right. He got a letter from a young blind fan who would cry if she thought he'd feed him, so he always said out loud he was feeding the fish. Yeah. You see, Fred Rogers was a spiritual being. It took physical, form. Frank, Lancaster, New York. Thank you, Chris. KC2, JPQ. Frank, what's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public?
Good evening, Alex, and KC2JPQ here. I live near, not too far from Niagara Falls. In the winter, with the falls, you have a natural mist that is created from the falls, and all the area, there's like a zone that gets covered in ice when you get the temperatures are right. And it never fails. You know where to stay away from, but somebody always walks in there, and it's like a natural downhill, and they're in the ice and they're falling. They're not going to go over the falls because they got a wall and railings and stuff like that. But if you get down that far, you got a major problem trying to get back up that hill, and it's comical to see somebody trying to do that. So I'm ready for my question, Alex. Back to you.
Yeah, I heard they put a barrier up now. You can't like do the barrel thing over the falls now. That's well, I kind of admire the people that do it and live because they're devil and gutsiness. But then I would expect, yeah, they probably have to think of safety too. I saw the falls when I was a kid. Trip to the Northeast and interesting. A lot of water. Your question, Frank, is which 1970s band is known by its two frontmen wearing long beards? Is that A, Leonard Skinner, B, ZZ Top, or C, the Osmonds?
That's a good one. I'm going to go with ZZ Top. Back to you, Alex. Have a great week. Talk to you next week. Take care. KC2JPQ.
Yeah, of the Osmonds, I think Marie had the best. But you're correct. It is ZZ Top, is a 70s band known for the two long beards. And do you know who ZZ Top's favorite hockey player is? Gordie Howe. Sorry, Frank. Fred and Reno, KK7OGC. Fred, funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
Alex, KK7OGC. I've been thinking about this for hours after I brought up your log. And, I'm 6 decades old, so I've seen a lot, as have you. I'm just going to have to go with older people trying to scan things at the self-checkout for now. There are many funny stories in my book, but I can't pick them out right now. Anyway, KK7OGC, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah. One of the reasons I learned to do computers and make systems and all that is because I didn't want to be one of those guys that check out that. What's funny was when you're buying alcohol, which I do on rare occasions, and on ask you for ID, and they have to bring the checker person over, like at Whole Foods or whatever, to say you're okay, and I tell them, well, yeah, I'm 3 times old enough to buy alcohol. That they're not amused. Your question is, babies are born without this. A, kneecaps. B, a spine. Or C, gender, according to some people. What do you say?
Sorry, what was alpha again, please?
It's a short question. I'll go over it again. Babies are born without this. A, kneecaps. B, a spine, or C, a gender, according to some people.
I'm going to go with alpha on that one. KK7OGC. Thank you, Alex and Vicky, for running the net. And back to you.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about this because I didn't know it, but yeah, they aren't born with kneecaps, which is a great deal for the mother. That would be difficult getting out of the birth canal. So, yeah, no kneecaps. That way to get a womb with a view. Yeah. Sorry. Kevin, Anaheim, California, AJ6EE. Kevin, funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public? Well, we got some good ones tonight. What do you say?
Exactly. A womb with a view. Oh, Baba, oh, Wawa. Okay. let me herd the cats here. Good evening. Oh, and by the way, I only live about 3 miles from where Wes was talking about pushing the rail car over there. Yeah, there's an old spaghetti factory over in that area. I was just over there a couple weeks ago. I can't think of anything. I'm sure I've seen a bunch of things that are funny, but what I do remember what came to mind. I hope it's okay to divert a little bit. My ex-wife and I were in Vegas. It had to be 5 years ago, and we got free tickets to a magic show at the Lady Luck at 10 o'clock, and it was like I forget, we paid like $20 or $30 for 2 sit-down dinners and a magic show. We're like, okay, let's go. So we go over there. Well, they had a 7 o'clock magic show that was for family, and we got tickets to the 10 o'clock show, which was we'll just say a lot of things disappeared during the magic show, which I found quite entertaining, but was very unexpected. Anyways, what's my question?
Well, you pay good money for them. Yeah. And by the way, I'm sorry about all the puns. I can't help it sometimes. When I was younger, I entered a pun contest in the local newspaper, and I sent in 10 puns, hoping at least one of them would win, but unfortunately, no pun in 10 did. Your question, Kevin, what famous female country singer once lost her own look-alike contest to a man? A. Taylor Swift, B. Loretta Lynn, C. Dolly Parton.
Oh, wow. Well, with all the Swifties in the world, I don't think that anybody could fake that one. I'm thinking it'd have to be pretty over the top, you know, like some of these. I don't really want to talk about it on the air. There's some people that dress up very extravagantly with excessive makeup and stuff, yeah, to impersonate women. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be C, Dolly Parton. Thanks so much, AJ6EE.
And you're correct. Yeah, that was Dolly. She entered a Dolly Parton look-alike drag queen contest in Los Angeles. Really, Los Angeles? And lost to a man who is dressed like her. Good for her for having a sense of humor. And I know I've probably mentioned this before, but Dolly Parton came up with a joke that she was the first woman back in the 60s to actually burn her bra. And it took the fire department 4 days to put it out. Thank you, Kevin. Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, W2AJR. How you doing, Andy? Funniest thing you've seen someone do in public other than Dolly Parton burning her bra?
I would imagine that would probably be like a 4 or 5 alarm blaze. The funniest thing I ever saw, Alex, was when I was a kid. They were doing construction at the school that was close to us, and there was a big dirt pile, so we all took our Schwinn bikes, and we were riding up and over, jumping over this dirt pile, and my best friend jumped up and went straight up in the air and came down, no feet on the pedals, and he didn't land on his feet. And it was like something from the Benny Hill show. He landed and fell over, and we all fell about the place. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously injured, but it was hilarious.
Oh, I hate when that happened. Yeah, it's a good thing when we're young that our pistachios in harder shells. Your question is, what is the longest road in the world? The longest in the world? A, Interstate 10 in the United States. B, the Pan American Highway. Or C, the road you're on when you've had too much to drink and there's no restroom for the next 100 miles. What do you say, Kevin or Andy?
Oh boy, it's gonna be A or B. I'll guess B. Total guess. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for that.
And you're correct, sir. It's the Pan American Highway. It's 19,000 miles long, and connects North America, Central America, and South America. And by the way, everyone, please don't drink and drive, especially if you're using a 7-iron. Thank you, Andy. Matt in Wilsonville, Oregon, KJ7 TVF. Funniest thing you've seen in public?
Hey, Alex, thanks for doing the net. You know, I've been racking my brain thinking what I could say here, but I can't really think of anything. So I'm going to have to pass on that. I don't know why I can't think of anything.
Yeah, my problem is I've seen so many funny things, it's hard to come to one that would actually, that would work anyway. I understood, no problem. Your question is, it's kind of a long one too. What is this piece of 10th century poetry describing? Splendidly it hangs by a man's thigh, under the master's cloak. In front is a hole. It is stiff and hard. When the young man lifts the garment over his knee, he wishes to visit with the head of what hangs. The familiar hole he has often filled with its length. Is the poet talking about A, a young lord and his lady, B, a sheathed sword, or C, a key?
Oh boy, I have no idea. I'm going to go with Charlie on that one. KJ7, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's just a key. You know, that's what he's describing it in a very colorful way. It comes from the Exeter book, EXETER, if you want to look it up, a 10th century poetry anthology, and boy, they sure used a lot of words back then. Hopefully they'll make a movie out of it so I can understand it. Thanks. Thank you, Matt. Chris in Phoenix, AA7CR, welcome back, buddy. Your question tonight is, what's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I've been driving public transportation, city buses for over 24 years now, in San Diego and then now here in Phoenix. So probably cleanest thing I can say is a woman running across the street naked over by 24th Street in Van Buren near the Met House with cops chasing after her. Okay, go back.
Yeah, I used to have a delivery route in that area, and yeah, it was. Of course, they cleaned that up a bit. I think they put something on them before they let them run around naked. Now, your question is, okay, what century does this joke come from? A man taking leave of his mistress said, "I kiss your hands and your feet." She answered, "Forget not, I pray, the station between." Is that from A, the 16th century, B, the 18th century, or C, 20th century fox? In other words, it comes from a movie. What do you say?
Probably C, comes from a movie. Did this app crash on me? It looks like I'm still keyed at 7CR. I think this app crashed on me.
There it goes. Yeah, it sounds like something out of a movie, but that's actually from the 16th century. That joke, 1595 to be exact. The Shakespearean like dialogue probably gives it away. That people use better, longer, bigger words than Shakespeare had. A vocabulary of 45,000 words, I believe it was. The average person in America today, 3,000 to 4,000. Thank you, Chris. Taking more check-ins for the Saturday night trivia net. Full call sign phonetically, please.
November 6, VDK, Kilo Juliet Lima X-ray, Kilo November 6, Juliet Lima X-ray.
That was an interesting combination. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
For OSU, for Ohio State University, in and out.
Kilo India 5, Alpha Oscar Kilo, KI5 AOK, Robert, Katy, Texas.
Kilo Golf 5, Quebec 5, Quebec, Delta X-Ray Bravo, Quebec, November,
Kilo
Quebec,
Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray Bravo.
Papa Tango Charlie. Enjoying the net, I'll be in and out. I'm almost at destination.
Kilo Golf 5, Quebec, November, Quebec, Kilo Golf 5, Quebec, November, Quebec, in and out.
Okay, hold on a second. PTC, the suffix, what was your, K3, PTC. Never mind, let's see who we got so far. KN6GLW, KN6GLX, Larry and Stephanie, Elk Grove, California. At WD8PIC, Bob in Sylvania, welcome back, Bob. And for OSU, Jerry in Fort Lauderdale was in and out. KI5AOK, Robert, Texas, welcome back, buddy. KD5Q, call if I missed one of the letters. If you try it again, KD5Q. KD5Q or 5Q or whatever's close. Try her one more time. That's okay, we still have time. KJ5DXB, Frank in Sugarland. KC3, PTC, Timothy in Havertown, Pennsylvania, in and out. And KG5QNQ, Stephen in New Caney, Texas, is in and out. All right. Let's go to the top. KN6GLW, KN6GLX, Stephanie and Larry. Question of the night, what's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public?
Hey Alex, it's Larry KN6GLX along with Stephanie KN6GLW, and we've been racking our brain on trying to figure out the funniest thing, but I think the funniest thing was we were standing in line at a grocery store, and the lady in front of us was a little old lady, and she kept calling her... Yeah, we can't say the actual word, but she kept calling her little grandchild a little DIL blank blank. So, and we didn't know the context of it, but it was hilarious. We just started busting up and couldn't stop. Go ahead with our question.
Oh yeah, little Dilbert. Yeah, Dilbert, that's the cartoon character from the popular comic strip. Your question is, it is funny. You're 5 times more likely to have this happen than to die from Ebola in the U.S. 5 times more likely to have this happen instead of getting Ebola and croaking. A, being struck by lightning while eating a taco. God, I hate when that happens. B, being elected president for the Green Party. Or C, dating Taylor Swift. What do you have the best odds of doing other than getting Ebola and checking out?
Okay, I think we're going to go with Charlie. Thanks for doing the net and have a good week.
Oh, Stephanie's interested, huh? Yeah, you're right. It's dating Taylor Swift. You're 524 likely to date Taylor Swift and to die from Ebola in the U.S. Only 5 people have died from Ebola in this. That's 1/5 the number that have dated Taylor Swift so far. So, guys, you still have a chance. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WD8PIC. Bob, what's the funniest thing you've heard of someone doing in public?
Well, I've got 2 stories that you guys will both laugh your tails off at. But I mean, they would have been funnier if you would have been there. I was in a restaurant, and for anybody, I'm totally blind. So I was in a restaurant, and my friend thought, oh, he'll sit me in a place where there's a great view. Well, somebody figured out that I was blind and just got furious and was lecturing my friend about how you insulted your friend. You put him in a spot where there was a great view and he can't see it, and that's blind abuse. I can't even. You would have had to have been there. And the other thing that was hugely funny was 2 pairs of scissors that I needed. And so, my friends, and they were packaged in such a way that if you didn't see it right, it looked like a magnifying glass. So then we got lectured hugely on, don't you guys know that a blind person doesn't need a magnifying glass? And they're going on and going on, and let's just say I was very thankful I had a diaper on, but I lost my breath. I mean, we were laughing so hard. And when the second person finally figured it out, I actually got a hug out of it, and they thanked me for, they said, oh, I'm sorry, I was so serious. I mean, and the more she tried to explain, the harder we laughed. Go ahead.
Oh, the poor light slaves.
Is often the funniest. It reminds me of All in the Family and the meathead, always sticking up for the black folk, and his neighbor friend would look at him and say, the chairperson, just stop it, just quiet, okay? You're embarrassing us. All right, Bob, your real question is, had too much to drink and wanted to stop the world? A, drink 1 quart of Gatorade. B, lie down on the couch and put 1 foot on the floor. Or C, get off the park merry-go-round and quit embarrassing your grandchildren, you lush. What do you say?
I don't know, because I've never experienced that. I'm going to go with A, only because I have 0 idea. And by the way, I absolutely love puns. Keep it up. I like doing those also. My motto is, I'm only serious, especially when I'm listening to XM. See, there was another pun. But no, seriously, I'm only serious when I have to be, and the rest of the time, look out. WD8PIC, back to net control.
Bob, we don't always see eye to eye, but I love having you on my net, and now to drink 1 quart of Gatorade, they used to believe that, actually, that somehow it would rehydrate you, but it's got so much sugar in it, and the bad kind of sugar, that it's not that good for you. You should lie down on the couch and put 1 foot on the floor if you've had too much to drink and you want the room to stop spinning. I unfortunately haven't experienced that too often. Thanks, Bob. Jerry, Fort Lauderdale, it was in and out. Let's go to Rob in Katy, Texas. KI5AOK. How you doing, Rob? Fellow net controller. Let's see. What's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public or heard on the net? That would work too.
Hey, good evening, Alex. This is Robert KI5AOK. I don't have one in public. I have one actually with family, between my wife and my mother. But unfortunately, I can't tell that because it's not safe for the radio. So, unfortunately, so a lot of I'll get hit with an FCC violation, I'm sure of it. So, anyway, so I don't actually have one for public. Sorry, I wish I did. So, all right, so let's go ahead with the questions.
Not even safe for the network you're on? Just kidding. Your question is, Calvin Klein's daughter, Marcy, says one disadvantage to having a famous fashion designer as a father is A, people automatically assume that she has great taste in fashion, and B, she has to have security with her when she steps out into public. RC, whenever she goes to bed with the guy, to look at her father's name on his underwear. What do you say, Rob?
Honestly, Alex, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm just going to take a wild guess at this one. Let's just, I don't think this is the right answer, but let's just shoot for Charlie. See. Anyways, thanks for doing it. And then Alex, and for everyone else out there, y'all have a great weekend, and we'll be coming up. And happy Thanksgiving for everybody. It's Robert, KI5EOK.
Robert, and yeah, you're correct. You went in Dow Pixie. Calvin Klein's daughter Marcy says it's a disadvantage in having a famous fashion designer father because whenever she goes to bed with a guy, she has to look at her father's name on his underwear. Yeah, that'd be uncomfortable. Of course, if she's randomly sleeping with strange men, I doubt if her moral compass is pointing in the right direction, but who am I to judge? Frank, Sugarland, Texas, KJ5, DXP. Frank, funniest thing you've seen someone do in public?
KJ5, DXP, good evening, Alex and everybody. One thing I can think of that was funny, and I can laugh because I did it myself, was at the gym where they had these ceiling to floor mirrors, people walking right into a mirror. I don't know. I did it myself, so it's funny. Ready for a question, sir?
I think I did that once to an Arcadia door. It was clean and shiny out of business, and I just went. I guess I thought I was a bird there for a minute. Fortunately, I didn't break my neck. But your question is, American B-17 bomber pilot Charles Brown, whose plane was left defenseless by German fighter aircraft in 1943, was surprised when A, one of the enemy pilots turned out to be his cousin, B, one of the enemy pilots held up a Christian cross and stopped firing, or C, one of the enemy pilots escorted the bomber to an area where it could land safely.
That's a tough one there. I'll go with C, Charlie, on that one. Thanks for logging me in, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, Frank. And you know, the governments and the banks that back the wars hate that when people help each other, when enemies help each other, have celebrations or whatever. People don't want to kill each other. And you're correct. It was one of the enemy pilots escorted the bomber to an area where it could land safely. A German pilot, Franz Stiegler, says he intended to shoot down the bomber, but when he saw how helpless it was, he had a change of heart. And the men and the bomber and Stiegler met after the war and became friends. So, like I said, corrupt people in government hate that. Thank you, Frank. Let's see. Taking more check-ins now. Sorry about that. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
This is Kilo Delta 2, Victor Delta Kilo, KD2 VDK.
Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel. Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel.
Hotel 2 Alpha Zulu, AH2AZ.
All right, then, picked up 3 more. We have KD2VDK, Todd in Liverpool, welcome back, buddy. W9DWH, David, Owensboro, Kentucky, welcome back. And Hobson, I haven't heard in a while. H2AZ, question of the night, what's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public? Over to Todd in Liverpool, New York, KD2VD, and by the way, this is W7 FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona. I haven't done that in a while. What do you say, Todd?
Well, the funniest thing I've seen in public goes back to a doctor that had just graduated from medical school, and I went out with him and his brothers for dinner, and we were at McDonald's, and he was about to order his meal, and they pantsed him right there, all the way down to less than skivvies. This is KD2VDK. Back to net.
From traded movie Australia because they went to uphold the high standards of the Australian porn industry, and B, they thought it might encourage pedophilia, or C, they wanted people to know they weren't only concerned about what's down under. What do you say, Todd?
I think that they probably wanted to prevent pedophilia and that sort of thing. I think that's why they did it. Back to you, Ned.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they were concerned, and good for them. They want to encourage pedophilia, and well, thank you, Todd. Let's see, David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. Funniest thing you've ever seen in public?
Alex, everyone. Well, we used to have a biker bar in town, and it was right downtown, so the sidewalk in between the bar and the street wasn't very big, and it had some picnic tables sitting outside, and I don't know if it was this person's like first foray into the culture. Alcohol may or not been involved with them. And, she's like, hey, you want to see my tatas? Up goes the shirt. Everybody starts yelling, no, inside, do it inside. And, she turns so red, traffic comes to a halt because I thought she was a traffic signal.
Again, did you get film or, film, shows how old I am. All right, David, your question is, the journal, Nature Aging, reported that taking the little blue pill cuts the risk of A, heart attacks, B, Alzheimer's, or C, being told by your wife, don't worry about it, dear, I'd rather just cuddle anyway. Which of those is true, David?
I'm not sure. I guess Bravo. They take that pill and they don't forget what to do with it. Have a good night, Alex. And thanks for doing that. W9 bit.
Thank you, David. Appreciate your sense of humor. And yeah, you're right. It's Alzheimer's. Supposedly, taking the little blue pill, whose name we won't mention here, cuts the risk of Alzheimer's. But remember, it's a drug, and there are other side effects. It's like it also lowers your chance of getting Alzheimer's. Drinking alcohol, cigarettes, and but not marijuana. For some reason, that seems to. Thank you, David. Scotty, Hobbs, New Mexico, AH2AZ. How you doing, Scotty? What have you ever seen someone do in public?
WH2AV. Good evening, Alex. Long time no talk to. Funniest thing I've seen was I was depositing a check for my grandmother in a bank, and this old boy walks up to the teller's window, stops, decides to relieve himself right there in front of the teller's window. When he's got done, he realized where he was at and said, "Oops, wrong window," and wandered back out.
Oh, that is funny, well, except for the bank, but it's a bank, so who cares? Just kidding. Thank you, Scotty. Your question is, how long is a billion seconds? How long is a billion seconds? A, 16 years. B, 32 years. Or C, the amount of time between when the light turns green and the driver in front of you talking on their cell phone finally moves. What's in seconds?
I'm going to go with B. Of course, I have no idea, but B sounds...
Very good, Scotty. I think I've done this question before, and then 16 years was the original guess, but you're right, it's 32 years. A billion seconds is 32 years. I joke about that in my Curious Ed page, but that's, yeah. You got it, buddy. All right, taking more check-ins now. Let's sign a Trivia Net, full call sign phonetically twice, please.
For RCS Kilo Lima 4 Race Car Series.
W4 PPX, W4 PPX, in and out, please.
For RCS, Rich in Meadow Lakes, Alaska. W4 PPX, John in Hollywood, Florida, was in and out. So, Rich, what's the funniest thing you've seen someone do in public?
Good evening from KL4 RCS, Rich, Meadow Lakes, Alaska, 16 degrees Fahrenheit. We're chilling. The funniest thing in public, boy, you know, I can't even come up with something at the moment. Alex, sorry about that. Back to you.
Not like a moose walking around somebody's general store. That happens a lot up there. Okay, I guess you had to be there to see it, though. Your question is, and the answer is, oh, Jeopardy style. The answer is 6 billion tons. 6 billion tons. A, how much does the Earth weigh? B, how much does Chris Christie weigh? C, how much does a teaspoon of neutron star weigh?
You broke up on Alpha. Can I get that one back again, please?
You bet, 6 billion tons. How much does the Earth weigh? B, Chris Christie weigh, or C, a neutron star weigh? Teaspoonful.
Alrighty, well, let me get back to your first question real quick. My son just reminded me we had moose in the hospital, and that's almost as good as the jackasses that go into the stores there. That was funny, especially when one of them bit the handle off a rental car. Boy, that was hilarious. I got it on film. The other one, I'm going to try Alpha. Thanks for doing that, Alex. KL4 RCS.
We love our jackasses in Oatman. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They get ornery, though, because they're used to people, so. We also like our jackasses in the Arizona Senate. Your question is correct. You got it. Yeah, it's, no, wait a minute. You said A, it's actually C. Yeah, 6 billion tons for a teaspoon of neutron star. Yeah, that's all the gravity there. You don't want to put that in your coffee. Thanks. Thank you, Rich. Glad you can make it. All right, more check-ins. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo India 7, Zulu Romeo India, KI7, 0I, Don in Kennewick, Washington.
That would really make you realize the gravity of the situation. WD8PIC.
Hey, picked up Don and Dorothy, Kennewick, Washington, KI70I. How you doing, guys? What's the funniest thing you see someone do in public other than yourselves?
Hello, Alex and everyone on that. This is Don, KI70I. You know what? I used to live in Vancouver, BC, up in Canada, and there for a time I actually commuted on the bus from where I lived to downtown, and we go through the original Skid Row, and I remember I saw this bum, or whatever political correct term is for these days, but he had a shirt that said things could be better. That to this day just cracks me up. KI70I.
Well, the ragman draws a circle down the block. Thank you, Don. Your question is, where are we? Oh, here we are. Henry Poincaré was the first person to A, go over Niagara Falls in a barrel, B, come up with the theory of relativity, or C, tell the joke. So I said, hey, Doc, it hurts when I do that. He told me, don't do that.
Groucho Marx, and he is not a Marxist, despite what all the communists claim. KI70I.
Yeah, funny that the name came. The answer again.
Yeah, A for Alpha.
Yeah, although we talked about Niagara Falls earlier, this Henry Poincaré, the Frenchman, was the first person to B, come up with the theory of relativity. Yeah, despite having read his work, Albert Einstein never gave any credit to Poincaré, and yeah, they think maybe Einstein borrowed his theory when he worked in the German patent office before he fled to America, and anyway. Yeah, interesting reading on Einstein. Don't use Google. It won't give you accurate results. Thanks, thank you, Don. Appreciate you being there, guys, and taking more check-ins. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Quebec 4, Uniform Echo India. Kilo Quebec 4, Uniform Echo India.
Jason in Greensboro, North Carolina, KQ4 UEI. Question tonight, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
Trip over your old shoe string.
Say again, please.
I said trip all the two strikes.
That'll work. All right, buddy, your question is, all my exes live in Texas. That's why I hang my hat in A, Tennessee, and B, Oklahoma, or C, a small trailer next to the railroad tracks with my 9 kids. What's the correct answer? Come on, Jason, it was a popular song. What do you say? KG4 UEI, do we still have you? Alrighty then, well, not to leave anybody hanging, the answer is Tennessee. Alright, more check-ins now. We'll probably make this the last call. Call sign phonetically twice, please.
Victor Echo 3, Whiskey November Oscar. Victor Echo 3, Whiskey November Oscar.
Kilo 4, Juliet Papa Whiskey. Kilo 4, Papa Whiskey. HA5 IDD. Kilo Juliet 5, India Delta Delta. VE3BZ. Echo 3 Bravo Zulu.